Yo, 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 what's up? Y'all know who it is. It's your boy, Pastor Jamel Smith, aka the Messenger. And I don't know if y'all could digitally still see on my hat, let it give it a second, run it through, process it. Yes, this episode is on love and recovery. Me and my co-host Matt will be discussing the topic today and, just sharing our testimony about our relationships and what love and recovery looked like to us and what we experienced going through it. So we hope you guys all enjoy and that life is treating you good and that you are taking your sobriety serious because you matter. Addiction is real, recovery is possible. Let's go.
I know I'm not perfect, but I know my love is worth it. Going in and out of these cycles, this pain is hurting. I wanna cry, but I can't, there's no rivers in me. I'll drown in my own tears with this liquor in me. That's past tense, and see, you ain't even there. Tried to give you all of the signs, but you ain't even care. You soaked in your own thoughts, and you ain't even here. But I'm prepared to cast a magic.
Yeah.
What's going on? We had a great episode with uh, Jerry Ward.
Yep.
She came on TTM Beauty. That was our
Yep.
last episode. That went well.
Yep. Got to get a bunch of stuff from her for Christmas gifts and everything too.
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm saying I did.
Oh, you did, yeah. So make sure shout out
Yeah.
to Jerry Ward, man. Visit her on ttmbeauty.com. Go check out her stuff. She's on all platforms.
I when you came to me with this idea, I thought it was a great topic because something that's not discussed a lot
Mhm.
in any kind of recovery circles or groups or anything like that,
Mhm.
where it's like a whole nother hurdle of your life that you have to face sober.
Mhm.
And your whole entire life you've faced it under the influence or
Right.
with the assistance of some sort of mind altering, substance. So with that being said, I feel like a lot of people, including myself, didn't realize um, the ties to the challenges of being in recovery. And then additionally, after, healing yourself and getting motivated and finding direction, and then trying to find a partner, right?
Right.
So this stuff, I'm kind of shocked. Like it should be taught. Like it should be part of the programs that we are utilized and but a lot of it's just about self-healing and whatnot, and it just kind of leaves you at that step, and then it's the rest of it's for you to figure out.
And
you
that
know
can be very complicating.
yeah, and it's not, it doesn't give you the realization. Like it took me a lot of time, almost 10 years sober before I realized
Mm-hmm.
that growing up in homes with substance abuse or alcoholism, etc. From there, as a child, your brain associates those behaviors with love,
Right.
and care, and what, this is
Mhm.
how it's supposed to be. Oh, if, somebody's doing something out of line, or, passing out, doing this, being abusive, whatever, chaotic, is all a lot of chaos and toxicity, right?
Mhm.
But you grew up knowing that is what you're comfortable with,
Mhm.
so and part of being in recovery is also being comfortable in your own peace, right, in silence, and quieting the noise, because that's what you used your substance for, right? um so then I had found and come to the realization that after getting sober, okay, I was sober for a while and start dating and seeing what's going on, that I was finding relationships that were chaotic
Mhm.
and toxic, because that's the only association that I had with love and relationships, right?
Love and alcohol.
Yeah. So, and even though those people were, some of them were sober too, like they
Right.
were in that same element, just not realizing, okay, this is not really what it should be,
Right.
but you're so honed in on that and trained your brain and body to be comfortable in the chaos from growing up or living your own addictions,
Mhm.
because even in love, while being addicted, usually your partner is addicted too. So
Mhm.
there's just constant chaos back and forth between the two of you. Um, and then finding that that's really not what it should be. And then finding that grounding and peace, and then trying to be comfortable in that,
Right.
and accepting, okay, this is what it's is supposed to be, you know? But for somebody to realize that on their own without any direction can take a very long time,
Yeah.
you know, and a lot of trial and error.
Shoot, tell me about it. Talk to me.
Yeah, and then my other thing is too. It's like you're once you get sober, you're trying to be in circles with people that are sober, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're going, you know, not educated on that same aspect or like falling in those same lanes, then it's just going to be a reoccurring cycle,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then you just keep repeating the same behaviors over and over again, expecting a different result, which I was told. And
Leads to insanity.
yeah, exactly. So
A lot of the times.
yeah, at that point, and then you know your reoccurring insane behaviors that you already kind of went through when you were in active addiction or drinking or whatever it is, whatever your substance of choice was, you know. And additionally, it's you know not just even with that one-on-one relationship side, but then sometimes you know you're creating your own chaos within the relationship too,
Mm-hmm.
because you have all these other you know emotions that you're going through and trying to figure out and navigating, feeling things for the first time sober
Mm-hmm.
that now can be overwhelming, cause anxieties, you know, things of that nature. So it's a lot to deal with. And you know, I think with our program too, with this sobriety driven program which you're going through recovery, is definitely something you know that you've talked about, and putting that into it as well, you know, involving some more exploration of that,
More
you
like
know.
emotional intelligence behind it. Um, Learning the sequences.
Yeah.
Shoot, I can't even really like say that I have it all together, but you know, I guess growing in those areas taught me that.
Yeah.
You know, like what love and recovery should look like and what it should be based on.
Yeah.
Like you said, it
Well, what do you put
goes
as the
away.
foundations?
Um, Typically it's just like you know, loving yourself first,
Yep.
taking care of yourself first, being able to be transparent and vulnerable in those areas, letting go of the shame and the guilt, so that way you can have a healthy relationship with somebody in recovery.
Yeah.
There's a lot of triggers that take place in being in a relationship with someone in recovery. Um, I've been in relationships on both sides, you know, with people who were in addiction with me, and then you know, my marriage now. My wife is not an addict, never been an addict.
Yep.
So it's like different. So it's like now, like what you said, the chaos, the toxicness, you know, it's
Yep.
something that you were just used to. So when you get in a relationship with somebody that's not in those areas, that don't know what addiction looks like, or you know, never been in a relationship with somebody that's been addicted to somebody, that changes the whole area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That place is like not what you were used to. So it's like, so putting like
Getting comfortable in a safe space
that's what, yeah,
is definitely
learning
difficult for people in recovery.
and finding ways and different avenues. Like your outlets can't be like, you know, walking away from a relationship can't be the same as it was,
Yeah.
you know, when you were in your, you know, addiction. It has to change. You learning that on your own journey, your partner's not going to understand that. Your partner may feel like you're abandoning them or leaving them behind or rejecting them for whatever reasons, but you're just trying to figure out what love is while going through the recovery.
Yeah.
You know, I learned that some people in what do they call those, like the AA meetings and stuff like that.
Yep.
You go to the groups. Most people get together in those groups and
Yeah.
become in relationships.
Yep.
Now, me, I would never do that. Me personally, I'm sorry for
Yeah.
whoever can do that. Okay, but
Well, they still had, you know, they got that rule of AA, NA, you know, don't get in a relationship until after being a year sober anyway.
I think you should go longer than
You
that.
know, well, the reasoning behind that, and you know, I agree with you too, is just you know because every person's different, right?
Mhm.
But the science behind it is that your body chemicals and thoughts completely are
Change,
reset and
yeah.
changed after a year completion of
Mhm.
sobriety. You know, your whole neural system is functioning where it should be. You
Mhm.
know,
But let's say this, right? You're clean for a year. You get in a relationship with somebody. maybe this person had more clean time
Yep.
than you, so we call it like a little bit like more mature in their addiction, right? Um, but maybe they're not mature in other areas of their life,
Yep.
and that triggers you, and then now you're back to relapsing,
Yeah.
which, and I'm speaking from what I've saw
Yep.
in these groups, and then now this person, because you relapsed, I'm triggered. So now guess what?
They're gonna relapse too, possibly. Yeah.
So now we're back into
Yeah.
another toxic cycle
Yeah.
of,
Back and forth,
you know what I
in and
mean?
out of, meetings and stuff like that. Um, you bring up a couple good points with that. Well, one, too, when you went back to like what your initial foundation should be,
Mm-hmm.
whereas you said, working on yourself and making
Loving
sure
yourself,
you're
yeah.
loving yourself. Because if you're not loving yourself and at peace with yourself, then you can't bring that to somebody else. If you're still fixing yourself and finding your own peace, whatever chaos that you still have left or dealing with, you're bringing into a relationship. Yes, a relationship should help you get over some of those
Mm-hmm.
hurdles and things like that, but having that initial base,
Mhm.
after a year, what you just described as somebody coming into a relationship that's not ready,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, yes, there are people out there that have been in recovery longer and see some people as vulnerable in those times
Mhm.
and take advantage of it, and which can lead, like you said, back to relapsing.
It takes the attention off of their stuff. It's
Exactly.
easy for me to pull you
Yeah.
in, and it's just like you put down a drug to pick up another one.
Yeah.
You ever heard your love is a drug to me?
Yeah.
Like I.
Well, it's technically both things are dopamine hits,
Mhm.
right? You're chasing dopamine hits. That's why they say when you miss somebody or you feel after spending long times with them, you're constantly having the dopamine hit, and then you split apart and you miss them later in the day or that weekend or whatever it is. It's technically your body coming down from a high.
It's like
You're going through withdrawals.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very similar symptoms,
Mhm.
but that's also, more of a healthy dopamine hit, because as you continue on and continue bonding and connecting, and
Right.
becomes more of, not just dopamine hits, but constant serotonin and
Mhm.
comforting and safe spaces being created between each other,
Yes.
and building each other up even more, and
It's
having that, what they call like a soul tie and,
soul
and
tie.
connection.
I was about
you
to
know?
say it's like effective communication. man,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the foundation of any relationship,
Mhm.
right? Is communication.
Mhm.
But again, somebody in recovery may not be, like you
That
said,
big- know how to
feeling the
communicate like
shame,
that,
yeah,
yeah.
and being able to communicate. And unfortunate, there are a lot of, people out there that'll take advantage of that and stuff. So you always got to, be very vigilant on making sure that you are where you feel like you need to be before
Mhm.
going into a relationship and recovery.
What I had put together was goals that I wanted to accomplish with one, my recovery. My sobriety was first.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'll use me. I've been with my wife for 5 years. Today is our 3rd-year anniversary. That's why I'm wearing this shirt.
Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't even notice
You know what I
that. Yeah. 3 years. Look at that.
You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Locked in
Congratulations.
forever.
Yeah.
Thank you. The core, the center core of it was stop relapsing.
Yep.
Get into a program, get myself clean, get it right. 2023, I didn't get into a program. I worked my own program because I learned, like, I've been an outpatient, inpatient, AA.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I
it
know
was
I'm gonna
just-
get hell for this one, but inpatient, outpatient recovery centers like
yeah,
that,
I've been through all those.
AA, NA, they're systems that are built on a consumer that keeps coming back.
Coming back. Yep.
Yeah.
Nailed it. 'Cause that's where I was going. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just like, it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want to come back to this. You know what I mean? You have,
It's a super
we're not going to
high
go there because
percentage.
we
Well,
can say a lot of
yeah,
things that, you know what I
yeah.
mean? We
And
probably get struck
I
for,
know I'm
but-
not the first one to say this guy. Actually, I recall I saw Pete Davidson live, who's been
Mhm.
sober for a year, but he's gone to the same rehab like 10 different times.
Mhm.
He knew everybody's first name, and he knew it. He's like, they build it so they keep coming back. I kept coming back.
like a prison.
Yeah, I'm back again.
You
Year
know what I mean?
later, I'm back again this
No.
year.
How did I end it? I had to take me serious.
Yeah,
I had to take my sobriety serious. I had to look at myself in the mirror and tell myself enough is enough.
Yeah.
I had to learn to love me that much because I didn't feel like I deserved that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It was so easy for me to do bad. Like it's like I don't know if you ever heard of that, right? You know, good is good, but it's so easy to do the
Yeah.
wrong stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's
easy to
harder
go to the
do, yeah,
drugs.
it's
So
usually
easy to go
harder,
to this.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, Jamel, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Get
saying?
uncomfortable.
Get uncomfortable.
Yep.
Yo, when it hurt, like go through it.
Yeah.
That's why in the last episode we had, I had that shirt on that says "Grow through what you go through."
Yep.
We don't want to grow through certain things. Certain things we just, just like, yo, we book it, fight or flight.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We come to those moments where triggers come and it's just like, oh, and it's like, I was watching Wolverine yesterday,
impulse.
and every time Wolverine went to go do something bad, the professor would have these seizures, and it would just be like,
Yeah.
and that's the kind of moment you're in. But what I realized is, even in that moment, Wolverine was still able to give Professor X his shot. He fought through that.
Yeah.
He could have just lied there and quit, and then they both could
Yeah.
have died, right? Because
Yeah.
his power was that strong to. But that's how the power of addiction works.
Yeah.
It's that strong. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? Where it could consume you, but you have to be able to fight through that. And just love is powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And having a support system of love creates a safe space.
Yeah.
It tells you that you're okay here.
Yep.
Like it's good, like to come
It
home.
relaxes your nervous system.
Yes, you don't
Yeah.
have to worry about the aggravation, the stress, the the fight
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
Most people feel like they're in this by themselves.
Yep.
They feel like they're not worthy. Feel like they're
Yeah.
not. I don't.
And
like
that's
I
why
said, they
the
don't
groups
deserve
are
it.
good, but it's not a solve all.
Yeah.
It covers one aspect of
You
it.
gotta work the process.
Yeah, you
work the
got to have
steps,
all
man.
the different parts to it. Live the healthy lifestyle, change up, work out, eat right. Focus on mental health, therapy, psychiatry, whatever. Find a purpose.
And you could go through that in a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not to say like, oh, I have to go through this, do this, do this, do this, and then find
No.
a partner. To have someone that wants it as bad as you
Yep.
gives you that extra
Or
like,
wants
push.
it for you.
Wants it for you.
Yeah.
But like what I learned, I had to want it
Yeah.
for me. So it's like,
And it's always not necessarily that you do that and go looking for it. Usually
Right.
your relationships happen
It
when
just
you least
happens.
expect it.
Right.
It's not necessarily what you thought would happen.
it just unexpectedly
Yeah.
happened. And using me as an example is like kind of like 2020 when I was going through my divorce with my first wife.
Yep.
I had to learn to get clean.
Yep.
Because there was so much stuff that was going on to where it was like things that were happening. People were like, "Yo, you're just making that up," and that's what
Yeah.
people would say to an addict.
Yeah.
You're
Well, yeah.
hallucinating. This stuff is just coming to your mind. You're overthinking
Well,
it because you're
you've-
drugged up and all
Your,
this
your
other stuff.
validity of your word has lost value because of
Right.
all the things you said and did
Done
in
and
order to get your high or get your drugs or get your drink or whatever you
Mhm.
needed,
so I had to switch up my game plan. And for that year, I did great. And then my wife and I at the time, we got together and things started changing. Those relapses
Yep.
started coming up because in the relationship, certain things were being said. For a little while, it was like, oh, I can handle it.
Yep.
But then what happens is it's a cycle of words, like, you know what I mean, that plays in your head. And now it's like, oh, I'm going to go back to what I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to drinking. I'm
Yeah.
going to go back to getting high.
'Cause that's the
Whatever
only
it
thing
is,
that you knew that worked. Yep.
forgetting that you was working a program.
Yep.
But you fell so deep into this area with this person, you forgot about you.
Yeah.
A lot of times when a person gets involved with another person, especially coming out of addiction, it's like we sweep it under the rug. We forget that we're addicts.
Yeah.
I'm so in love with this person. What they call it, the honeymoon stages,
Yep.
right? You're going down that road with this person, and you're forgetting that you're an alcoholic. You're
Yeah.
forgetting that you're a cokehead, like, or something, like, and you're just so involved in that. And then all of a sudden your partner says something, does something, and boom.
Yeah,
fall off the wagon
well, you
again.
got to handle it, and if you can't handle it or take the pain or the feeling of it, then you're going back to your substance of choice.
Now I say that because even then, being in that year, I realized I didn't have a lot of things under control.
Yeah,
What's going on, y'all? Here I have Foreigner's Cottage Coffee. That's all I drink. That's all I prefer. And you could get your own bag. Grounded or not, medium or dark. And the owner is Melissa, founder and owner of Cottage Coffee. And you could contact her at 203-465-8180. Email melissa7929@gmail.com. Or you can follow her on Facebook at Foreigners Cottage Coffee. I promise you, you won't be disappointed if you're a coffee lover. Make sure you grab your bag today. You know what I mean? Depending on what kind of emotional creature you are, you know what I mean? I think that matters. What
yeah.
kind of person you are. I know some like sweet, genuine addicts, like
Oh yeah,
nicest people in the world,
yeah,
but can be cruel in certain moments in
yeah.
time, depending on how you treat them or how you talk to them. So it's just like, learning who you are coming out of, because when you come out of recovery, you're not that
You're not the
person
same.
that you were, and this person has
Yeah.
to understand that. And there's been times I wanted to walk away and say, hey, look, I gotta separate myself from you to get me right. But like we were talking before the show, learning boundaries
Yep.
in love, in recovery. What lines can I cross? What lines can I cross? If you're with someone who doesn't understand addiction, they're trying to process you through you.
Yeah.
They see you every day.
Yeah.
They don't know why you get triggered and go drink. They may not know it's them. A lot of people, what's that thing? When you blame someone for your
What, like
your
a
addiction,
redirecting your
energy towards them. You're
Yeah.
putting what you're going through on them,
yeah
right? And I found out that that's unacceptable,
yeah.
right?
That's not
Accountability is something that you
Yeah.
have to take for, but at the same time, that person has to learn to take accountability for what comes out of their mouth or their actions too.
yeah
It's like triggering a vet. If you clap around a vet or something, this vet just might
well yeah
go off because
the-
of
the- yeah
PTSD
yeah,
reaction.
yep.
You know what I mean? So it's the same
And
thing.
again, it's going back to the communication with that though too.
Right,
You
and
know, when that
talking.
does happen, talk through it, and then not necessarily try to fix the problem right then and there or understand it, but the fact that you're able to sit there and listen,
hmm
is really all that needs to happen.
It'd be best if your partner went with you to a group meeting.
Well, yeah, of course. That's always part of supporting this.
know?
I always relate that to like the same fact. Like if your partner's an athlete, you're
Mhm.
gonna go to their games and watch their
Right.
games, right?
Even if you
Or
don't
just
understand what's
seen,
happening.
Yeah, just seen Jake Paul watch his girlfriend or wife there just win a gold medal.
Jake Paul's wife won a gold medal doing
Yeah,
what? Skiing?
she's a speed skater.
I did not watch the
Yeah,
Olympics. I did not
yeah,
see
that
any
just
of the
happened like
Olympics.
yesterday, the day before.
Oh, but see that? Look
But
at that.
it's the same thing. It's what you're working hard at and doing. So having somebody come to a meeting or whatever recovery groups you're part of or
Yeah.
activities to be there to support you in that same way.
I'm gonna say to Jake, you should just go over there and ski with your wife and leave boxing alone. So,
Yeah,
anywho.
I don't know about that. He's done more for boxing than anybody else has in a long, long time.
Listen,
That
was ugly. But
Yeah.
hey, we're talking about love and recovery,
exactly,
not love and
yeah.
boxing.
He tried though.
he-
He showed up and he tried.
That was horrible. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Listen, but that's how love can be. Like love can hit you that hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Recovery is a beautiful thing, man. You just
Yeah.
gotta know how to fight it.
And
But
especially when it comes to love too,
Yeah.
like you're feeling things that you've never felt
Felt
wholly before. Yeah,
Mhm.
because they're all the new emotions and feelings that are raw and
Mhm.
not, blended down or altered by substances.
and I just want to be like transparent for a second because, in love, it's like you're afraid to do that because you're afraid of hurting someone. Me as an addict, loving, all
Yeah,
right, let me say
but
this.
it's also
I
you have
can
a
love
wall.
you,
You have a wall up, that
right?
you
But
didn't
at the same
have before,
time, I have a guard up
yeah,
because now I'm worried about you hurting me, but I'm
Mhm.
more worried about me hurting you,
in both ways.
causing that to hurt me
Yeah.
to go back to what
Yeah.
I used to
Slipping
do.
up. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how does one, you
So
know,
you already answered that earlier. Is
yes,
creating a safe space,
right.
you know, and continuously showing up in that space so that that wall can slowly come down. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. You know, it's going to be a valid worry for quite some
Hmm.
time. You know, but eventually you'll get to that point and you'll feel safe within that without a doubt or question. And
Well, I say to say this. I was looking more for people to love me through my addiction instead of me loving myself.
yep.
Like I
Okay.
know it's kind of like what I was saying
No,
before,
yeah,
but
and
right,
I've seen addicts do that
uh,
too. Yeah,
it's like
they
can
don't feel loved, or you know, so they're looking for it everywhere.
everywhere,
Yeah,
and this is why I see a
in all
lot
the
of
wrong
people.
places. Yeah, been there before too.
You know what I mean? And it's just like you question your levels of love. You know what I mean? And it
Yep.
has you like in this fear of just coming out of this box and being so like
Vulnerable.
spiritually
Yeah,
vulnerable or emotionally or mentally vulnerable because we think like love is just one thing. That comes with love comes with like you got to compartmentalize this.
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really gotten that far in it because I
Yeah,
realize even in my stuff, like I could
Well,
love you to the point to where loving you so much gets me angry
yeah.
and not being able to
But
control.
you're still young in the relationship, being 5 years. You know, you talk to some of the OGs that have been married for like 20 years out of recovery and addiction, and then tell you that as long as you're always learning and changing
Mm-hmm.
and communicating and doing better than you did last time,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to continue to grow stronger, and eventually you'll get to that place.
Yeah. It's
You know.
it's a block of confidence that you always have to build up.
Yeah.
Just like if you struggled with jobs or you struggled with like other relationships, friendships,
Yeah.
family relationships, stuff like that. It makes you feel incompetent, right? Makes you feel like you're just not able to accomplish this
You don't
one
feel
simple thing
confident
that
in it.
everyone is
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just nobody. I heard somebody. I don't care about being loved.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
You must be the only like. Come on,
Well, no.
everybody
Yeah.
wants
Yeah.
love. You know what I mean? I've been around some of the toughest people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like behind closed doors, they the most loving people,
Yeah.
but don't touch their streets. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? They become a different breed out there.
Yeah.
And it's like learning to just let all that go and accept what this is and what it
Yeah.
looks like. You know what I mean? And being able to say, hey, and I'm still learning this. I swear I'm learning this. Ego, pride,
Yep.
putting all that of who I used to be aside and
Yep.
saying, yo, you don't have to be afraid to be loved.
Yeah.
You don't have to fear loving someone and thinking the moment that you make a mistake, this person is going to like run away.
Yeah. And
That's the
that's
first instinct. like,
addict mentality,
you know what I mean?
and additionally with the, additional childhood traumas,
Mm-hmm.
'cause you disappointed your parent, then, now all
What
of
is
a
that?
sudden,
Follows like
you're punished.
validation or
Yeah, exactly.
expectation.
Disappointed I couldn't save, the situation as a
Mhm.
kid, but as a kid, you got to understand that you're a kid. They're the
Right.
parent, regardless,
They know
you
more.
know,
So it's like
yeah.
you're learning to.
But, unfortunately, most of us were not, brought up that way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's rolls over into relationships later on in life.
Right.
And
Well,
then
let's go there. What did love look like to you as a child?
It looked like what I saw in the movies. That's where I got a lot of my understanding of what it should be.
Like the Bronx Tale type of love, or like
No.
Family Matters type?
Well, yeah, that was always a good show for, showing how a
Full
family
House.
should be. Full House, it wasn't as much. That was more of like a family love because I don't think there was
Oh,
anybody.
yeah, because he wasn't. He
Yeah,
didn't
he wasn't
have-
married, but
Right, that's true.
Family Matters was a good one.
Right.
You know, Trying to remember.
Married with children.
Oh yeah, that's far from from a good one. That one was more relatable at
Oh
times.
God!
You know,
How about Boy Meets World?
yeah, that was always a good. You
Right.
know, that showed you a lot, especially with Corey and Topanga. Like
Right.
they had a healthy relationship and they communicated well,
Yes.
which was something that you saw on TV, but then also seeing these things on TV and not seeing any of this stuff happening in real life.
Right.
Kind of made it more of a fantasy
Mm-hmm.
than a reality, you know?
I agree, because as
So-
I got older, that's what I thought. So I was like, this ain't real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you're always chasing that, but essentially that's how it should be,
Mhm.
right? But because the way our world is, and especially that, I don't put anything on my parents or anybody else's, it's just that generation was raised that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was. You sweep everything under the rug. You look the other way.
Yep.
Nobody's got an addiction. Everybody just has, they had a little bit too much to drink.
Yeah, that's
But
it.
then, they had a little bit too
consider
much
that a
to
problem every
to
time.
drink every day, or,
Right.
leads to arguments, fights,
Mhm.
erratic behaviors, things of that nature that you thought was normal. You normalized it,
We normalized.
you
it,
know?
yes.
and many generations did. And
Mhm.
fortunately enough, the generations got better.
Yes.
Our parents' lived through worst case scenarios,
Mhm.
and then, as we get older, we're passing on to our children a
Right.
better way of life and breaking those, traditional
Change the cycles.
cycles. And unfortunately in some cultures there still are, very much that disruptive kind of behavior, like stay in place, stay your role,
Mhm.
sweep things under the rug,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. That's just how it's supposed to be.
Right.
But then at the end of the day, that's just continuing on old, I don't even,
Traditions.
they call it old traditions, but it's
Yeah.
all really old toxic behaviors from hundreds of years ago that just continued on, that are
Right. Passed down traumas.
exactly,
Basically.
yeah,
That's how I looked at it. I'm like, I remember one time my father and I were outside after he beat me.
yeah,
He took me outside. TVs back then, we had those big wooden tube TVs. The TV
Yeah,
was
yeah.
inside the entertainment
Yeah,
stand. So
yeah.
I guess ours blew. He took it outside. The only way they were going to take it, like you had to so
put
he
it on
was
the
like-
curb, yeah,
And I don't know what happened. I just got the courage to say, why do you treat me this way?
yeah.
Like, I get emotional even saying it because I remember how I looked,
Know
and how
you
I
felt,
felt
yeah.
saying this
It's
to
a
my
traumatic
dad.
situation that's embedded in your brain.
And he had this
Yeah.
pipe in his hand, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
I said the wrong
yes,
thing,
I'm
yeah.
done. I'm about
Yeah.
to die right here, right?
Yeah,
But let me not create him to be a monster like that, even though, it was bad. But
Yeah.
he said, son, let me tell you something. How I treat you is how my father treated me.
yep,
This is all I know.
yeah,
You know what I mean? This is the first time I ever heard someone say parenting did not come with no instructions.
yep.
My dad drunk, came home, yelled, fuss,
Mm-hmm.
did this to me, and my expectation and
Yeah,
the rule of thumb is
yeah.
this: you don't listen, you catch flames.
Yep.
I'm like, those flames was just a little bit extra flames. Now
Yeah.
you got low,
Yeah.
medium, high. You was high,
Yeah,
like not high, like it was just too much. And
Yeah,
I
it's
understood.
excessive.
As I got older, I had to learn through love. That's how my dad knew love.
Yeah, that's
Even
what
through
he was
his
trained.
addiction.
Yep.
He didn't stop drinking until he was like 35.
Okay,
But
yeah.
all the abusiveness in my home, the verbal abuse. My
Yeah.
house, I grew up very dysfunctional and toxic.
Yep.
And that's all I knew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what you were saying. It's just like,
Yeah.
no matter how many times you say, oh, I'm going to get older. I'm not going to treat my family like this.
Yep.
But you got to remember, back then we didn't have what we have now, programs that we have,
Yeah. Resources,
different
education.
resources, exactly,
Yeah.
to teach us how
Yeah.
to be verbal. As a man, I'm pretty sure your dad used to say, don't you cry.
Oh yeah.
You get up.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a freaking tear come
Yeah.
out of your eyes or I'm going to beat your behind. It's the most scariest thing to a kid. To
Oh
be
yeah.
like,
you had
"This
to be
hurts,
tough as
and
a
if I
boy. You
cry,
had to be tough.
I'm
yeah.
going to get in trouble."
Yep.
So now you get into these relationships with females and you're growing up and you're very like into this person and you don't know how to be
Yeah.
a
Emotional.
sensitive,
Yeah.
emotional person. Like I've learned it through Christ. I learned it
Yeah.
through biblical principles on, like, husband love your wife as
Yeah.
Christ loved the church. I'm trying to figure out how sensitive God was in those moments, looking at the fact of even being so he loved us to death, like to the point to where he took on the whole world's sins and was beat beyond recognition.
Yeah.
I'm not, no, love ain't that deep, God.
Yeah.
That's how we would look at it.
Yeah.
Would you go through that? Would you die for someone that that probably
get
won't
to
even
that-
love you back the
You get to
same
that
way?
point, it's, getting to that point. If you create, just like, all right, for instance, like your child, like you would have that belief in your child
Mhm.
and sacrifice yourself for your kid, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's that same kind of love and especially when you're talking about the Bible, like, God and Jesus referred to us as his children,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's that same kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
But, having and finding and trying to create the love in adulthood and reprogramming yourself is hard.
Right.
And I've gone through it in the last 10 years myself, just being in recovery.
You jumped
You
right
know,
because I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah. And finally, being at that point in my life where like I'm happy and peace,
Right.
and the calm and being able to appreciate everything,
All right, so let's touch this because I want us to be so raw today. Like, pause, but I want us to
we
be
already
raw.
are.
Nah, because to touch base on your like I want like we're talking surface, but let's talk like when you was going through what you were going through. We don't have to detail for detail, but the emotion of it. With your
When
you
I
was going through with your relationship.
with well, I've had a couple different ones that ended
Well, give me the
on
one that hurt the most while you were going through your.
they were all
recovery.
different, because it was different aspects and different aspects of my recovery, and one common thing in it, up until recently in all my previous relationships was the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I was attracted to chaos in one way or another, some of it being more severe than others and more noticeable than others, some of it
Right.
not.
Yeah.
And it was the end of the day, I guess the answer to that question is like the most painful part would have been the lack of effort from the reciprocation of the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So as an addict and people in recovery, we feel all the emotions that we always have, and like
Mhm.
we put all of ourselves into something,
Mhm.
and especially on top of if you have ADD and things
Yup.
like that, like you become hyper focused. You're very much into doing everything, and trying to people please, etc. There's
Mhm.
also behaviors that come at the end of the day with trying to navigate through recovery. And then when you start doing that again and again, and the person stops reciprocating,
Mm-hmm.
because then now your value internally starts going down.
Mm-hmm.
You start questioning yourself, like, am I good enough? And did I do everything right? Overthinking everything, which again is symptoms of people in recovery, the sobriety, part of the whole situation. But that's what you end up feeling the most about, because that's what's going to bring you down to your low points again.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I must not be capable of being loved. I must not be good enough for anybody. I must not be doing this right. And then your whole life, anytime you hit those moments, you went back to substance abuse, right?
Mhm.
So I guess that in those times and those relationships would have been the worst part of it is
Right.
coming to that realization, and having that happen again and again.
Because it's not reality. That's not reality.
No.
You know what I mean? But it still feels so real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Feeling those
Well,
emotions.
because you also
like, you know what I mean?
you jump into it with the one thing that I learned about being attracted to the chaos, or like associating chaos with
Mhm.
love and toxicity, is that you jump into it so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like you feel all these emotions so quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there it's just a spiral downward, because you have that initial excitement, you have the craziness, that's what feels comfortable with you, because it's always felt comfortable your whole life,
It's a norm.
and it's not knowing what's going to happen next, because you didn't know what's going to happen the next day, or didn't know what happened the night before, and you drank too much and blacked out.
You didn't care.
Yeah, exactly. So that comfortability became embedded in you, and then now you're dealing with the same things in relationships, but then essentially you're just heightening and stressing your nervous system out,
Mm-hmm.
and continuously damaging yourself internally, mentally, etc. And luckily, I was able to learn from those lessons.
Mhm.
Not necessarily my own.
Right.
I obviously in therapy and
Mhm.
a lot of self-help books, etc., reading, uh, different recovery groups, things of that nature,
Right.
right? So, and then finding, the success in a relationship with finding the peace and happiness that you're looking for
Mhm.
by taking, you know, things at the comfortable pace, creating a safe space, and living in the peace and
Let's
enjoying the peace.
pause right there.
Yep.
Pace.
Yep.
When you said pace, I heard patience.
Kind of the same
Like, you
way.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're on that wheel,
Yep.
just trying to figure it out. And just going through it. But we never pause.
Yeah.
It's like never a pausing moment to just like, all right, let me just enjoy this.
Yep.
Because we're so focused on,
What's going to happen in the future or
oh,
what
is this
happened in
gonna
the past? Yeah.
and
So living in the
not
present
even
is part of it too.
what we
Yeah.
were talking about
Yeah.
earlier. And
Yeah.
I think, when you said that, that's important.
Yep.
Being patient with yourself, giving yourself grace, showing yourself a little mercy. As addicts, we beat ourselves up a lot.
Oh yeah.
We beat it. I think like you can't beat me up worse than I could beat myself
Yep.
up. You know what I mean? I remember one time I was so lit that I stood there and just took the punches
Yep.
because I was like, doesn't even bother me.
Yeah. You
And I was
feel it.
literally getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
Like she was really punching me in my face, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Are you done?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "What the heck is wrong?" And I'm just like, "Yo, I'm just so numb
Yep.
to this pain, right?"
Yeah.
And it's just like, "Yo,
Because you
bro,
lived in it.
put yourself."
You just made it. You were comfortable in that moment.
And it's just like,
Which
I
is a
look back
bad
at
thing
it
to
now,
say.
and I'm like, what was I doing? What was like, yo, to
Wow.
like make yourself feel like you're not that person, like you just can't find your way out of that dark place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is
But then once you find the peace and happiness, like that's when you really feel
feel
alive.
it a lot better.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I
you
mean?
feel like you're enjoying life. You feel like
Mhm.
you're, being able to have everything that you wanted and patiently waited for it and did it the right way and embraces it.
All right. So
You know?
what is your take on? Okay, let's say, all right, you've been clean for 10 years, no
Yep.
alcohol. I've been 3 years. But the take from like when you're in a relationship, right? But now you've been working on you.
Yep.
You're clean 10 years. Got yourself to a point to where like maybe your communication is a lot effective, but compared to how your partner's communication is, like what would you say on that? Like, how would you deal with someone that now, you're in this recovery state. How do you deal with somebody else's problems in your relationship? Because when you met this
'Cause-
person probably wasn't
yeah.
even the way they were.
Yeah.
And as you went along, certain things started to come out, and you're like,
Yep. So you have to lead with communication and be patient and be able to listen.
Mhm.
Don't try to problem solve.
Mm.
Don't try to solve the problem that
"There's
they're
a lot of our
that,
problems."
yeah that they're coming to you with. Not necessarily you're not able to solve every problem, and nor is it your responsibility.
Hmm.
It's your responsibility to sit there and listen, be patient with them, and give them the safe space to maybe talk it out and figure it out on their own.
Right, right, right.
But at that point, it's always about just leading in open communication, making sure that they feel safe enough
Hmm.
in the communication,
Hmm.
to be able to express themselves the way that they should, and aren't holding back or not
Mhm.
trying to say something because they're afraid that you're going to get upset,
Hmm.
etc. Keep it simple and welcoming. Welcoming in your tone and welcoming in the way you're talking to them. And then let them talk it through and maybe plant a couple seeds that you might think to help them ponder
Right.
and leave it be, when they're ready to talk again, or if there's another continuation of the conversation, and it happens sometimes, and especially in new relationships, it takes time for you guys to figure each other out.
Right.
You got to talk about things, sit, process it, think about it, and revisit it. But again, like you're talking, somebody with more experience and somebody that doesn't have as much experience,
Right.
then you have to take that leading role as somebody setting an example, not
Mhm.
somebody coaching or telling you to
Right.
do something. You know, it needs
That's
to be just leading by example and being patient.
that's right there. That is a big problem when it comes to like relationships like that. It's like you're always you coaching your partner's
Yeah.
coaching you instead of just effectively listening
Yeah.
to one another and like, okay, this is his process or this is her process.
Yep.
Not more that I gotta fix this for you
Yeah.
or I gotta do this for you.
That shouldn't be
Like,
it. Yeah.
but being that fact that oh,
There
if I
no
don't
you
help you fix it, then you might come at me and say something like,
yeah.
"But you wasn't there for me when I was going through this," or like,
But you're
"You
there
didn't
for
show me."
well, you gotta make sure you're still there for them. You're there for them
Right,
listening. You're there for them. Ask them what can I do to help you? You
right,
know?
right,
What do you want me to do?
right,
You know, ask those questions instead of just assuming, oh, I can do this and fix this problem right away.
right, right.
Because 90% of the time, it's going to make things worse or just not even affect the problem effectively.
I couldn't imagine being married to a judge or like a lawyer, some people, a counselor. That must like be like that would be complicated for me to do. But
Well,
I say that
depends
because
on how they are, if they're empathetic or not, you know?
being in this area of recovery coaching, I feel like I have to. I'm like that. I feel like I have to coach my
Yeah.
children into certain situations instead of just being a father. Coach my wife into understanding what addiction is and da 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 da. Instead of
But
just sitting down with her and
yeah.
going through the
But
books
that's
and
on,
saying, "Hey,
yeah,
look,
like,
let's."
that's on you. That's your mentality. That's your
Hmm.
work life, but you're bringing your work life into your home life.
We do that a lot.
Yeah, which you got to leave those separate. You
Hmm.
know, you're there to create a safe space for each other. That should be the top priority,
Right.
right? Not trying to fix whatever the problem is or
Is.
telling them how to navigate, through this is how you should do it,
Hmm.
sitting and just listening to each other and asking how each other feels about what I should do to help or how do you want me to show up for you right now?
Because
You
that's
know?
important. That's important when it comes down to it. Love and that communication, and then having that solid ground in your recovery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's almost like if those things aren't tied to each other, and it's just like a bunch of like you're just juggling things.
Yeah.
There's a bunch, like you said, it's just a bunch of chaos.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's so much to grab from understanding how one can love in so many ways. You know what I mean? And then still feel like you can't. So
Yeah.
it's just relationships are not easy. Marriage is not easy, y'all. Especially if you're married and in recovery, it's not easy. You know what I mean? Being with someone in that sense.
You always have your ups and downs. Nothing is
Me
all.
personally, my sense of it is I had to learn like recovery wasn't just getting sober from drugs and alcohol. There were so many other things that I had to learn to
Yep.
recover from
Yeah.
as well. You know what I mean? I don't like if you go back, my first episode in season 1 when I started, it said, recovery is like, when you break a bone.
Yep.
If something is broken, you're probably sitting in the hospital for a couple of weeks. While you doing that, you probably like done lost your job. Now you're financially messed up.
Yep.
And you got to go from sitting in the hospital for a couple of weeks to now the doctor telling you this bone ain't gonna heal for another 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Then once that heals, you go back to the hospital or to your primary doctor, and now they tell you now you got to go to recovery. Well, how
Yeah.
long is that gonna take? That's gonna take you about 6 months to a year. So when you add all that time up, you think about how much you lost
Yeah.
in that time and how much you got to come back from, and what did that do to you? How did it damage you? And
Well, it shouldn't have damaged you. It should just only made you grow. Hurdles and obstacles in life and, are things, and again, you're sitting uncomfortably because you have a broken leg or whatever,
Right.
but you're growing. Your body can heal itself
your body
regardless.
could heal itself. But what I'm
Yeah,
talking
and
is
your
like
mind and everything else.
your bills is piling up.
Yep.
You're probably fighting DSS to get
Yep.
your workers' comp, or probably fighting
Oh,
with
yeah,
your
you
job.
have
Like
all
there's
these
certain
different
mental
things. Yeah, oh,
things
yeah.
that you're going through.
Yep.
So you know what I mean? It's just like same thing with relationships.
Yep.
Yeah, we change. Like going back to we change every day.
Yeah.
Something's new. Once I said yesterday, I said, the fact that I've been clean for 3 years, I'm proud of that.
Yep.
But then anger or rage or frustration kicks in still every now and then.
Yep.
So now, okay, let's focus on that issue. Or if you have a depressing state of mind,
Yeah.
focus on that, because we ignore those things and forget like those things could really affect our relationships. Congratulations that you've been clean for 10 years.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
what undersurface stuff that you're dealing with that needs to be dealt with that you're just like ignoring still? Just the same way that you ignored it.
Well,
when
no,
you
there's
were-
nothing at this point in my life. I've
No, not you personally. I'm
Yeah.
speaking in
Oh,
general.
oh.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm speaking in general. I know you. You got 10 years clean. And like, I know you've been through some
yeah.
stuff, you know? So,
You know, anybody facing that is just your first obstacle is becoming peace of yourself and living in the present. Because you could sit there and rattle your mind all day long about those bills that piled up or whatever money's not coming in, and it's just
Yeah.
gonna make it worse.
right,
You know, so live in the moment and take it one day at a time.
right. It
You
happens.
know,
Listen, we could talk
That's why they
about
say
that.
The first year is always the hardest anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
You ain't
you-
clean for that
all
1
that
year.
stuff that you just explained, you have more stuff piled up in that first year
Right.
than you do any time after that.
The whole thing is taking yourself serious and being
Yeah.
responsible, accountable to yourself.
Yep.
You know, you can't expect people to be accountable for you. People are going to hurt you. You know, people are going to walk out on you. People are going to mistreat you. But I've learned not to continue to treat myself like that. That's
Yeah.
something I don't have to accept.
be. Let
Before it
them
was
go.
just, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's like,
Let them go. Don't let it bother you. Live
Right.
in the present. You know who you are.
Right.
And that's all that matters.
love
So,
yourself.
yeah.
Man. Listen, we're
Yeah, we've got
like
a lot of
probably like an
yeah.
hour in. It seemed like
we've gotten a lot off the table today, and I'm sure there'll be other episodes where we can relate and probably hope maybe bring a
we're gonna revisit this.
some love
I would
coaches
like to
in or
revisit
something
this
like that, or relationship coaches.
Yes.
You know,
because we wanted to
and
have
sobriety. Yeah, somebody
a
along
couple
that.
who've been in
Yeah,
recovery on, but you know,
next time around, there's a lot more that we can explore.
well,
So
hey man, it was good
Yeah,
talking to you
good.
about this.
yeah,
As men, see, we're
Yes.
men talking about love and recovery,
which
and it's
is okay to do.
you know what I'm saying, to do that and be honest and transparent with
Yeah.
yourself. You know what I
Break the
mean?
Generational stigmas and I hate to use the word curses, but
Yeah.
some of it is.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Break the generational curses. You
Yeah.
know, let God interrupt the cycle
Yep.
and
There
be
you
the
go.
change in your life, man. Listen, y'all know who it is. It's your boy, Pastor Jamel Smith, aka the Messenger. I'm with my guy.
Matt.
Pause. He didn't even know. He didn't even see it coming. But yo,
throw me,
Alright, man.
throw me in the wind here. All
Alrighty
right.
driven. We love you guys, man.